Hey guys, welcome back to the Readers. I hope you're having an amazing day. Seriously, you might want to settle in for this one because the ride is going to be wild. And trust me, you'll walk away with a lot to say. So let's get into it. You ever notice how the smallest cracks in a family or a neighborhood, or even your workplace, can split wide open into something you could never have imagined? You know what I mean, right? Like you wake up one morning thinking it's just another Tuesday, and by the end of the day, you're knee-deep in a mess that feels like it's straight out of a sitcom, except no laugh track, just that uncomfortable silence that follows a bombshell. Well, let me tell you, these stories are real, they're raw, and sometimes they're so satisfying you can't help but grin. Other times, well, you just shake your head. So my cousin Julia, she's always had those magic hands for beauty, eyebrows, makeup, hair, you name it. Back when we were growing up, everyone in the family would line up at her house before big events, trusting her with their faces like it was nothing. Fast forward a few years, and Julie is running a legit little salon out of her basement, balancing it with a full-time office gig, barely sleeping but living for it. The place is all soft light, cozy throws. You can smell lavender as soon as you step in. Basically, her happy place and a sanctuary for anyone who needs to feel human again. Amy, her sister, took over the socials, and I got stuck crunching numbers, which honestly, I kind of like. Makes me feel like part of something good. Then the pandemic hits. You know how that went. Regulations changing every 5 minutes. Everyone on edge. Masks, gloves, hand sanitizer everywhere. Julia shut down right when the city said to. Even though she could have risked it. She wanted to keep people safe. Period. She posted everywhere. We're closed until it's safe. Don't show up. Don't book. We'll see you soon. The whole family was proud. Until Mrs. Turner popped up. If there's ever been a walking definition of Karen, it's her. She saw an old post about a September sale and immediately started drama, accusing Julia online of breaking lockdown, calling her out as if she was risking everyone's life for a few extra bucks. Julia barely noticed at first, but next thing you know, 2 cops are knocking at the door, demanding to inspect the basement. My aunt, who barely speaks English, is freaked out, thinking we're all about to be arrested for eyebrow threading. The cops didn't have a warrant, and Julia told her, "Don't let them in, I'll be home soon." By the time she arrived, the officers were already suspicious, asking why her business was still operating. She explained everything, pointed to the closure signs, and finally, they apologized. We thought that was that, just another overreaction. Wrong. Mrs. Turner wasn't done. She slid into Julia's DMs, acting all innocent, asking for an appointment. Julia explained, "Again, we're closed." But Mrs. Turner tried to trip her up, claiming a friend was just there, then bragged about reporting her to the cops, topped off with a racist, "Why don't you go back where you came from?" That was it for me. I'd had enough. No way was she getting away with that. Here's where the twist comes in. See, Mrs. Turner owns a spa too. While she's throwing shade at Julia for breaking the rules, I dig around and find her running home appointments during lockdown, even advertising specials in local Facebook groups. I made a fake account, slid into her DMs, asked about facials. She replied right away, eager for business, happy to break every rule in the book. I collected all the proof, screenshots, posts, the whole thing, and sent it to the health authorities. Turns out, this wasn't Mrs. Turner's first rodeo. She'd already been fined $750 before. This time, she got slammed with a $10,000 fine, lost her business license, and blew up on Instagram, threatening to find out who ruined her. Maybe karma needed a little nudge, but the universe does keep score. Julia's salon, meanwhile, came roaring back after restrictions lifted, clients flooding back, family even more loyal than before. You know, sometimes it's not enough to just wait for justice. You have to make it happen. And the look on Mrs. Turner's face when her little scheme backfired. Well, let's just say it was priceless. Sometimes, you gotta be your own avenger. But, life's not always so straightforward, right? Take the time my house literally became a crash site. Imagine, 1 minute you're at work, the next your neighbor's calling, her voice shaking. A plane crashed into your living room. I thought she was joking until the photos came through, smoke pouring out the windows, firemen everywhere. My whole life scattered in the front yard. No one was hurt, thank God, but insurance, city permits, rebuilding. It all became my new reality. You'd think the universe would cut me a break after that, but nope. The HOA stepped in, demanding paperwork, approval, review fees, all while I was living out of a suitcase in a hotel. Richard, the HOA president, had zero sympathy. Rules are rules, he said, as if that would rebuild my house any faster. I jumped through every hoop, revised the plans, paid every fee, but it was never enough. They didn't like my dormer window, the stone I picked, wanted meetings for every little thing. The delays were costing me thousands. Finally, when they sued me for moving ahead with construction, sued me, I hired Diane, a lawyer who specialized in HOA nonsense. She found the one bylaw they never mentioned, the disaster clause, which said I could rebuild as long as I didn't change the appearance too much. The HOA was banking on me being too tired to fight. Not this time. Diane countersued for harassment, dug up every instance where the HOA let board members break the rules but came down hard on regular folks. Court day arrives, and the judge just sits there, shaking her head. "A plane hit his house, and you're worried about a window?" she asked, and Richard looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. Not only did I win, but the HOA had to pay all my legal fees, apologize in the newsletter, and attend a governance course. Sometimes, you have to stand your ground so hard, you make the bullies back up for everyone's sake. Oh, and the dormer window? Still there. And when my neighbor wanted one, I approved it in a week. Funny how a disaster brings change nobody expected. I didn't run for HOA president, nominated a neighbor instead, but I joined the committee to make sure nobody else went through that. Now, I pull into my driveway, see the morning sun through that window, and it feels like victory. Yeah, it was rough, but the fight was worth it. Not all battles are epic. Some are just gross. Like the time my job made me show up sick, in pain, with a doctor's note, just to hand it over in person. The manager lectured me on work ethic while I could barely stand. You ever have that moment where you just let nature take its course? Yeah, I vomited right there, all over her desk and the precious paperwork. Couldn't even turn around. After that, nobody said another word about my motivation. The factory went under a year later. Call it poetic justice. But the stuff that sticks with you isn't always the courtroom drama or the Karen takedowns. It's family. And man, family can be the hardest to deal with. My sister, for example, has always been creative about borrowing money, never so creative about paying it back. She'd borrow my NES and her cats would destroy it, guilt me into paying for her vet bills, have her kids raid my change jar, and act like it was just kids being kids. She'd move in, drive my power bill up, promise to pay, and then disappear for months. Every time I pressed her, she'd turn it into a soap opera, crying, making excuses, dragging everyone else into the drama. The debt piled up, hundreds for electricity, more for clothes for her kids, because she'd spent everything on booze and God knows what else. Even when I kept careful records, she'd try to pay a little and claim it was enough, like math just didn't apply to her. I couldn't turn the power off because her kids were there. I couldn't say no because family. But it never changed. The last straw was when she spent her winnings from gambling at Thanksgiving right in front of all of us, owing everyone at the table, acting like nothing was wrong. Finally, my mom snapped, told her to leave, and she walked out, leaving us holding her bills. Here's the thing. Sometimes the only way to fix a broken cycle is to draw your line in the sand, say enough, and move on. I'm not saying it's easy, but at some point, you have to stop letting people take from you, whether it's money, energy, or peace of mind. And that's the thread tying all these stories together. Sometimes, the fight for what's fair, for justice, or even just for your own dignity, is messy, uncomfortable, and maybe even a little ridiculous. But when you come out on the other side, whether you've rebuilt your house, saved your cousin's dream, or just finally stopped being your sister's ATM, it feels damn good. And if you're lucky, you'll have changed more than just your own life. You'll have made it better for the next person who comes along. So what do you think? Is standing up for yourself always worth the trouble, or does it sometimes cost more than it's worth? Have you ever had to take a stand against someone who just wouldn't quit? Drop your stories, your thoughts, your own tales of victory, or even defeat, in the comments. Because, honestly, figuring out where we stand on what's right and wrong, that's something worth talking about.